Welcome to Chapter 9 of the Feminine Mystique. The energy behind the feminist movement was too dynamic merely to have trickled dry. It must have been turned off, diverted by something more powerful than that underestimated power of women. You're underestimating the power of women, Betty Friedan.
How dare you!
I don't know if you know this, but we women have the power to make our own choices.
What?
We have brains.
No!
Feminists always get confused when people make the choice to reject feminism. Right, Emma Watson?
Women are choosing not to identify as feminist.
You know what? I don't care.
But my recent research has shown me that feminism has become an unpopular word.
They are not self-aware enough to realize that, maybe your movement is terrible, insufferable dog shit. I already know I'm equal in opportunity and value to a man. Why don't you?
Morons!
Feminists think they're unequal, so they project that insecurity onto all women. I don't have such a low view of myself that I think I have no rights. I have life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, which are the only 3 rights every human has. Everything else is a privilege. Ironically, when I pursue my happiness in a way the feminist disapproves of, they are unhappy with it. Tyrants! Why is it never said that the really crucial function, the really important role that women serve as housewives is to buy more things for the house? Housewives aren't allowed to buy shit for their house. Why not? They're at home, so they know what the house needs, but they aren't allowed to make the decision to buy the stuff because that reduces their value as humans? I thought that making decisions was an empowering thing to do. Of course, once again, a feminist shows that feminism doesn't give a damn about women making their own choices. What feminists want is for you to do what they say because they are tyrants.
Feminism has become an unpopular word. Why has the word become such an uncomfortable one?
Feminism is a tyrannical movement. Tyrants! Do you get it yet?
Morons!
Make the choice the feminist told you to make. The choice the feminist wants is for women to go work, even if they don't want to. Once again, some women want to work. Some women want to stay at home.
It's not rocket science.
Women have brains.
What?
No one said that men can't also buy shit for the house. Both parts of the couple can buy shit for their own houses.
Can't even with this shit.
American housewives can be given the sense of identity, purpose, creativity, the self-realization, even the sexual joy they lack by the buying of things. Shopaholic? Friedan thinks that women shop because they have a huge hole in their souls. Yes, because it completes me when I buy a sponge. I end up feeling like I have found a soulmate that I can connect with through that sponge. I've actually booked a Royal Caribbean cruise with my sponge soulmate. We're going to have a great time. Maybe some women are shopaholics because shopaholics do exist, but not all women are shopaholics.
It's not rocket science.
The argument feminists give for such mundane things is ridiculous. Of course, I bought a fucking sponge because I needed one to wash the dishes, and for no other damn reason than that. Leftists are always like this. They think there's some deep, sinister meaning to everything. Things can't just be simple with them, despite them being simple-minded. I suddenly saw American women as victims of that ghastly gift, that power at the point of purchase. I may have found the one thing leftists are consistent at doing. Victims! Even in the 1950s, we have a feminist who sees women as victims. All the leftist groups do this. They will paint themselves as victims, paint others as victims, whether the others see themselves that way or not. Leftists get really mad when people don't see themselves the same way they do, because they are obsessed with putting everyone in boxes they deem appropriate. Tyrants! The message was considered of interest to all the companies that With the war about to end, we're going to have to make consumer sales take the place of war contracts. It seems Friedan is against commerce. She is upset that companies are trying to find ways to make money during peacetime after World War II ended. Communist! When America was at war, the companies were making supplies for the military. That's where the Rosie the Riveter icon came from. Women worked in bomb factories in America when most men were overseas fighting. The war created different jobs for women. Companies needing workers is a good thing. Friedan is upset that the companies are switching to peacetime supplies like household appliances. Why? It makes sense that companies would switch back to what they made before the war in order to keep making a profit. Just because a refrigerator sits in a house and a housewife is in the house most of the time, that doesn't mean that selling refrigerators is a bad thing.
For fuck's sake!
However, according to Friedan, who sounds like a communist, it's terrible because how dare you sell things to people?
How dare you?
On the basis of a national sample of 4,500 wives, middle class, high school, or college educated, American women were divided into 3 categories: the true housewife type, the career woman, and the balanced homemaker. What? There are 3 types of women? Women make choices? Some are housewives, some have jobs, and some have part-time jobs, as well as being a housewife?
It's true.
Women have brains to make their own choices?
What?
If Friedan knows this, why is she even writing this pissing book?
Jesus Christ.
Friedan wrote this book to claim that every woman is completely miserable because she was forced to be a housewife.
You're a liar.
But even in her own book, Friedan knows that surveys have been taken by women that show 3 different groups of women choosing lifestyles for themselves. They're all wives, but they think differently.
It's not rocket science.
It busts her entire premise because women do have choices, but Friedan is acting like women don't have choices. Second consistency with leftists, they will always be incoherent morons! This sounds a lot like what feminists do now with abortion. They say that women are forced to give birth. The reality is that women have plenty of choices when it comes to having babies. If you don't want a baby, you can choose to abstain from sex or use contraception and have safe sex. There is no law that forces anyone to get pregnant and raise children. This is not the pissing Handmaid's Tale.
Just be smarter.
I have never been forced to become pregnant. Leftists like to use this word forced to scare people. The only forcing I see going on is coming from the left.
Okay, well, Michael, do you know what the leading cause of death for pregnant people is?
Pregnant people? Mm-hmm. Mothers?
The left forces you to use inclusive language, which is compelled speech.
Women?
If you'd like to call them mothers, not all of them are mothers, but if you'd like to call them that.
What are they if they're not mothers?
They're pregnant people.
Because they try to destroy anyone who doesn't speak the way they want because they're tyrants! I am not punished for not becoming pregnant, but people are being punished when they don't use inclusive language in the form of cancel culture and apologies.
What people other than mothers are pregnant?
Does it bother you to use inclusive language?
You're being forced to use inclusive language, which only means language the left wants you to use. Otherwise, you'll be punished and canceled by them for not doing what they say. Tyrants! Her time-consuming task, housekeeping, is not only endless, it is a task for which society hires the lowliest, least trained, most trod upon individuals and groups. Anyone with a strong enough back and a small enough brain can do these menial chores. This report comes from a marketing study of how to sell fancy cleaning products to people. I think the report just insulted all custodians and housekeepers as well as anyone who cleans their house, housewife or not. I bet if you went to Walmart and the bathrooms were filthy because no one ever fucking cleaned them, you'd be extremely pissed off. We need custodians. They are important. And I'm pissing sick and tired of people thinking jobs like that aren't important. You think the bathroom cleans itself? It's not sentient. Even people who work need their house to be clean, otherwise they'll end up on hoarders. Friedan found this report that says cleaning is easy because you don't need a brain to do it. Yet at the same time, she is complaining that housewives have such a difficult life. How? Are you saying housewives don't have brains? Women have brains?
What?
So even the simplest task of cleaning is so difficult for them? Cleaning is easy. Even the marketing people said that.
Jesus Christ.
What is wrong with you?
As one housewife remarked,
As for some magical push-button cleaning system, well, what would happen to my exercise, my feeling of accomplishment, and what would I do with my mornings?
Friedan poses this quote as if it's something terrible, but once again, it's like if that particular housewife gets a sense of accomplishment from cleaning because she doesn't want to end up on hoarders, what's wrong with that? When I clean my office desk and declutter it, I do get a sense of accomplishment. Cleaning the house that I am in all day is a positive thing. I don't want to live in a landfill. I clean for myself. It does make me feel better, and there's nothing sinister or bad about that.
Stop extrapolating nonsense.
The housewife seizes the moment of completion of a task as a moment of pleasure, as pure as if she had just finished a masterpiece of art which would stand as a monument to her credit forever. What? You have a very inflated idea of the sense of accomplishment people get from cleaning a table. Yes, it is a positive moment, and no, there is nothing sinister or bad about it. But I do not feel like me cleaning the table is the same as Da Vinci painting the Mona Lisa. What the hell are you talking about, you insane bint? Two things can be true. I can get a sense of accomplishment, but there are levels to accomplishments.
What?
Running a 5K is different from running a marathon. The 5K is shorter, so yes, a sense of accomplishment, but running 26.2 miles and finishing the marathon is a much greater accomplishment.
It's not rocket science.
When I make videos, I feel a greater sense of accomplishment than cleaning a table. Cleaning a table is a little bit of a happy moment because I feel less claustrophobic when I don't have piles of crap around me. But when I create something like a video, that's absolutely more satisfactory. Obviously. Friedan seems to be really upset that marketing companies have a desire to sell things to the public.
How dare you?
She spends most of the chapter whining about this point in a report that she found from someone she calls a manipulator who was studying the opinions of women in different aspects of life and then marketing household products accordingly. Advertising and marketing do have to persuade and convince people to buy their products so they can stay in business, but that's not a bad thing. It is the purpose of those industries. No one says you have to buy the fancy newfangled appliances unless you want to. Just because you see the thing advertised doesn't mean that you have to buy it.
Jesus Christ.
You can have self-control, and you do have free will. I see tons of shit advertised to me. Most of the time I just ignore it, unless it's been something I have been wanting or needing for a while. Advertising obviously will influence people to a certain extent, but there has to be a balance. If I don't need new shoes, and I keep seeing advertising for new shoes, I can just ignore it. As long as you're not buying shit you don't need, it doesn't matter that it's advertised to you. Getting upset that it's being advertised is ridiculous behavior. That's all I have to scream about for today, so until next time, remember, it's okay to make your own choices, even if it goes against what feminists want. They are not the authority of you. Just think for yourself, and I'll see you on the next video.